Okay, so in the last session, right, we imported the data and we did certain query building activity, right? Like we were writing some codes. So we imported the data. First of all, we created the table and then we understood on how we can clean the data using the truncate table. Then we did a where clause, from clause, order by, having, and we ended that with something like max function out there. Now, when we are importing the data, right, there are certain things like what you need to do. It's not just always what you will import will always be clean, right? You might need to sometime make changes to the data. So what kind of changes that you may need to do? You may need to add certain rows inside the data, right? You might need to delete certain column from the certain information from there. You might need to change the data type of these things, right? So so let's start off, and this process is known as altering a table, right? So you have already got some information. Now what you need to do, you need to alter some data within the table. So we'll start off with that. I'll give a name, altering a table, right? Now in that, what we will alter, if we have to alter the table, what we have to do. So let's say first thing, maybe we need to add a new column within the table, right? So let's first check. We have brought some, we have created something called new table, right? A dummy table. So let me check what is available within this. Select star from new table. Okay, this is the data that we have. Now, if you see here, there is two columns missing, right? So I purposely deleted two columns out there. So what we can do, we can create those new two new columns from here. So how we can do, we can say altering a table, and then we will give the command alter table. New table is the name, right? Alter table, and the new table is the name. And then we will use the keyword called add, and then you have to specify the name of the column that you want to add over there into this table. And after this, you need to give the data type. So I will say float, and that's it. With this, you can just go ahead and execute this. So it says column names in each table must be unique column. Okay, it is already there. So I think it is already there. Let me add something over here. Maybe unit price is again something that I deleted. So I will add this particular column, alter table, unit price. Now this command has been successfully run. Let me just go ahead and execute this table and see where this column has been there. So you see this unit price has been executed and it is coming up at the end. Now in this unit price, right, what we can do currently, we have set everything as blank, right? But if you want to put anything up over there inside this, we can use an update command, right? So what can be the update, how we can use the update command over here? So I will say update table, update new underscore table. And then, so first what we have done using the alter table, we have added a new column as unit price. And now I will set the values within the unit price. To set a value, what we will do, we will use this update command. So I will say update new table, and then I will say set unit price is equal to sales. So we have some sales information, right? So we'll say sales into 0.001%, or maybe 20% of the sales value will be my this one, my unit price. I will go ahead and execute this, right? And it says 1952 rows has been affected. Now let me just go ahead and run this table. So when I run this table, I have this unit price, right? And which is coming up properly. So with this altering method, you can add a new table. Okay. Now, so you have already a table. Now another thing, right, what you can do, you have to change the data type of a column, right? So for an example, this region column is having a data type of text, right? You want to change that. Instead of text, you want to convert that into a varchar. So so I need to write a query to change the data type of a column. So what I will say, and then I will say alter data type of a column. So I will say alter data type of a column, alter column, alter table. And then we need to give the name of the table here again. So I will say new underscore table alter column. So here you need to write 2 times alter table, new table, alter column, and then specify the column that you want to change. So I will say region, and then what I need to mention the new data type that I need for that. So there will be already some data type existing within this. Right now I need to specify the different data type that I need from here, and I will just update it up over here. I'll go ahead and execute this. So if I go ahead and check this. Okay, so when you are making the changes to the data type, right, you won't be able to understand from here what is the data type changes or not. Now, this data type changes that I have done, right, it's just like for one column, right? But when you have lot of data, a lot of different columns, right, and what you need to do, you don't need to follow this particular approach. So what you have to do, you come to this database that you have and come to the tables that you have created. So this is the new table that we have created. Within this, you will see columns, right? So just select any column and then click on modify over here. If you just click on that modify, you see it will open up the list of all the different column names that you have available and the data type over here. So instead, like, let's say if you want to change this from float to integer, you can just select that and just leave it. You don't have to make any like click on yes or anything or that, nothing like that. So with from here, actually, you can go ahead and make bulk changes to your data. Like generally this is not required, because when you're importing the data, SQL is smart enough to understand like what kind of data is like getting imported out there, so you don't have to make much of the changes in there. Okay, so we understood on how we can add a column, how we can change the column. Same way, like how you have to delete a column also. There can be some like multiple columns that has been added, right, which is of no use. So for an example, this discount and unit price that we have added, it's of no use, right? So what we can do, we can delete these columns, delete a column from the table. Delete a column from the table. So again, for the same thing, we'll say alter table, new underscore table, and then the keyword. So what do we use the keyword for deleting anything within the SQL Server environment? You can use the chat box actually to give me the answer. So what is the keyword that we use to delete anything within the SQL Server environment? Okay, so to delete anything, actually, we will use the drop command, right? So drop table, drop database, drop column. So to delete anything, we will be using the drop command over here. So we'll say drop, and then what we need to do, you need to specify the particular columns, right? So drop column, and let's say I have discount and unit price. So I will select both of them out here. Unit price, and then just execute. Now you see, like in discount, I have not given the square bracket, and this unit price I have given the square bracket. The reason is whenever you are trying to write a particular column name, right, and if that is having some space, make sure you wrap it under the square bracket. If it is like just one word, then you can do it without the brackets and all those things. But if there is this one, like there is a space between two of them, then use the square bracket out here. So I'll just go ahead and execute, and this has completed. So if I just run this again, command select star from new table. So now our table will not have this distinct and the other column, the discount and the unit price that was there. It is not there. So using these method, right, you can you can like obviously go ahead and make some changes to the data that is required. Now we discussed on the updates statement also. Right now, update statement is little tricky. Now, why I'm saying that this is little tricky? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me add a discount column. One second. So where is my discount column? Alter column. Okay, let's add unit price again, right? So what we did actually, so we said update new table, set unit price is equal to something, right? So we can do this also. We can put some condition like this over here, right? Now the problem is like whenever you are trying to write like set statement, and if you're not updating any filter out there, right, what it will do, it will actually change the entire thing. So let's say if you say 0 out here, right, and if you did if you forget to mention like where your sales is greater than something, so I will say where city is equal to Boston. So in real time scenario, what happens if you are not mentioning this where clause, it will change the data for the entire column. So here you are having only 1800 or 1900 row items of data. It's very easy. But when you have like millions of record, it will like take a long time to process all these information. And again, you have to reverse that. So be very, very careful when you are running this update query. Otherwise, it will affect the entire thing. That's why. Okay, so with this, let's move to the next thing. Now in the next thing, it's like statements. Now what is like statement? Let me first run this query. Select star from orders. Okay. Select start from orders. Now in this, right, we have this customer name. Now, most of the time, what you need to do when you're dealing with string, you need to find some information which is kind of matching. It's not like you have to say that, okay, it is exactly the name of the city. So for an example, here in the previous example, what we did, we mentioned where city is Boston. But in some of the scenarios, what you need to do, you need to specify, right? It's not completely Boston. It may be starting with B and ending at N, something like that. Right? So you need to specify those kind of condition. So there, to solve all this problem, what you can do, you can use something called like operator. So let me just write this over here, like operator. Now with the like operator, what we will do, we'll try to find out certain information from the data. So I will say find all the customer name starting with A. Right? So there can be a scenario, right, like where you're trying to find out a particular name, and then you want to just find out unique list from there, and out of that unique list you want to just contain those names where it is starting with A. Let me see the name. So maybe A or K, anything. I will say K, starting with K. So what I will do, I will write select, and then I will say customer name. Select customer name from orders, right, where customer name like. So it is not, we are putting equal to over here, we are saying like means it will match a pattern, right? And then we'll write percentage A, sorry, A percentage like this. Now I'll tell you what is the meaning of this A percentage. So when I'm writing like this, let me first execute this. So you see, we are getting the name of all the customers. Okay. So here we need to give a distinct so that it shows me a unique name. So select distinct customer name from ordered, right? So we are getting the name from A over here. So when we are writing like A and then percentage, that simply means the first character what you are searching should be A. Right, first character should be A, and this is case insensitive, so it doesn't matter if it is starting with capital A or smaller a. Anything which is starting with A, it will give you the result. And then you have this percentage sign, right? So percentage sign means any number of characters after this. So let's say you are starting with A, and after that, if there is any number of character, it will be showing you this result, right? So we had the question with the K, so I just change this to K and execute over here. So this is the first condition that you are meeting, right? Starting all the things with K. Now you have the question, same thing, find all the find the customer names, customer name ending with K. Let's see if there is any names ending with K. So in that case, I will just put it up over here, right? So looking into this example where we are like saying starting with K, what do you think will be an example if I need to find out ending with K? What is the changes that I need to do over here? Can anyone tell me? Any answers in the chat? Okay. So it will be exactly opposite. Yes, it will be exactly opposite. So we will just update it over here as percentage K and we'll execute this, right? So now whatever things that we are getting is ending with K. There can be again a situation where I want to have certain things like, okay, it is starting with A and then ending with K, right? So there can be a matching thing. So I will say find all the customer names starting with A and ending with K. In that case, what we can do, we can just put A in the beginning and keep the K at the end. And the percentage simply signifies any number of characters between A and K. So I will just execute this. And you see there is only one person whose name is starting with A and ending with K. Okay, so we were like speaking about one character, right? Let's say I need to find out anything which is having the second character as A, right? Like I want to just find out the second character should be A, not the first one. So in that case, what will be the answer? Okay, so let me write it. So let's say if you are having to find out the second character, right? So in that case, we will write the same thing, but for the first place, we will put an underscore sign. So my result will be like this. So when you are, let me frame the question, having the second character as A. Right, find the customer name having the second character as A. Select distinct customer name from orders where customer name like underscore A and then percentage. So underscore is a placeholder, right? So you're holding that place with A and then there is the percentage sign, which is anything. Let me just execute and see the result, right? So the second place, yeah, Calvin, Cameron. So all these people, yeah, are having the second letter as alphabet. If you have to find the third, just put another underscore out there like this and you will get the result. So third character is A of over here. Okay. Now these things, right, like whatever we are writing this underscore percentage, these are basically known as wildcard character, right? These percentage, I'll just write percentage underscore, these are wildcard character. Now sometimes, right, wildcard characters, they are known as. Now you need to use certain different type of wildcard character also, right? So let's say if I give you an option to find that, give me all the names, right, which is starting with anything between A to E. I will say like that, right? Anything between A to E. So how do you do that over here? So when you have like a range, a particular range of information, you will just update it like this, A to E over there, and then percentage. So using this method, right, what we can do, we can specify that this is a range A to E, and this is like just a hyphen that you need to specify. I'll just execute this. So it will bring up all the information that we are having between A to E over here. You see, it is also giving me the result from A and E. Now, if we don't have a range, right? Let's say if you are having only two characters between A and B, if you want to find out like that. So you can just say NO. NO. I just want to find out like if there is any names, right, which is starting with either N or O, like that. I'll just go ahead and execute this. So yeah, we are getting some kind of names from there. Now this is like you have to find all the characters which is matching. Let's say if you are trying to find opposite of these things, right? So here we are finding, let's say take this example. So select distinct from orders where we are trying to find out starting with A and K, but I want to find all the customer name not matching this condition, right? So whenever you have this not keyword coming into your questions, right, what you can do, you can just specify the not like. It will become reverse. So when you are saying like means matching, and when you're saying not like means it becomes opposite. So I will go ahead and execute this over here. Okay, it is like it is or condition that is coming up over here. So it is like either A and K is matching. There is one more wildcard character which you can use as not like. So let me just copy this over here. Not like wildcard character. Now what is this? So let me remove this like sorry, not from here. And we have another example, right, where we were trying to find anything which is having NO in the beginning, right? Any names which is starting with either N or O. So let me copy this information from here and then update it up over there. And what we will do, we'll just update this with a symbol which I always forget where it is. I think it's Shift+6. Yeah, the symbol. So when you are putting this symbol, it will do opposite of what you are trying to get. Just like it will act like a not like function. So using this like, and if you're using this keyword over there, it will act like a not like thing. Okay, so these are basically the like function, and like function are mostly used over the string function, right? String function to get the data. Now, after this, let's move to the next set of functions, which is joins. Joins, right? Now, let me open up an Excel also to explain you what is basically the joins. Okay, now in plain language, right, when we are saying join, we are joining the table in a horizontal fashion. Horizontal fashion, as in, let me show you with an example in Excel. So Excel is also our database, right? So we will have, let's say these are, let me keep it like this: name, age, location, and in another table we have name and designation. Or we can, instead of name, we can say emp ID and designation. So emp ID, just put this as name. And okay, now when you are designing an employees table, you have these kind of table. These are the names for these person. Their age will be 20, 25, 24, 35, something like this. Then again, these are the employee ID, 1, 2, 3, and then designation, maybe something analyst, senior analyst, maybe associate, something. So these are our designation. Uh, I'm sorry, I'm speaking on for 2-3 minutes on mute. I'm sorry, I will explain that again. So we were discussing on the joins, right? So we ended with this like operators that we have in SQL, and then we were moving towards the join. So I just opened up this Excel to explain you about the different kind of joins that we have into that we can write. Now there are like multiple type of joins, but amongst most of that data, right, there are only two type of joins that is more important and which is like regularly used, which is left join and inner join, right? So we have created an example over here in Excel, right? And we have this two tables: employee ID, name and age, and employee ID and designation. So we have just created two tables. Now all the data that you will see into your databases will be stored in the similar form. We could have stored the designation in the same table, right? But it is stored separately for some reason. This is known as data normalization, which we'll cover in the last session that we will be having. So due to the data normalization, there are certain informations which are kept in a different table that we have, right? So in this, we have like for employee ID, name and age, and we have designation in the other table. So while we are working and for analysis, we need to bring the designation into the current table that we have, right? So if we perform the left join, this is the result that we will get. So we will get all the data from the left hand side table, right? So when we say left hand side table, right, I mean it is the process of writing which table you are writing over there. There is no left or right. System doesn't understand what is left or right. It will just understand what is the table name that you are giving at the top. So first thing that you will give will be your left join. Simple. We'll see in the example when we are writing. So this is the left join, and what it will do, it will bring the right hand side data over here, and for the things that is not matching, it will show you null. So for an example, here you don't have a 4, right? Fourth employee. So fourth employee designation is showing up as null. However, when we perform an inner join, right, it will go and match the, we are like, I'm so sorry, guys. Again, I think I need to reshare that. I think my SQL was only shared. Just a second. Stop sharing. Share my screen. One second. Let me reshare the screen. Okay, let me share it. Okay, I think my Excel is now being shared. I think, is that fine? Okay, yeah, I think it is being shared. So I was explaining about the joins, right? And as I mentioned, we have two different tables that I have created in the Excel out here. We have in one table, we have employee ID, name and age, and in the other table, we have employee ID and the organization designation details, right? And generally, this is the way data is kept in the database. You will not keep all the data at one location. This is, I mean, done because of the normalization that we have to do in the database. So here, designation is stored in a separate table. And for some of our analysis, what we need to do, we need to bring the data into the current table. Now, if you're familiar with Excel, right, this concept works similarly, just similarly like the VLOOKUP, right? How you, in VLOOKUP, how you bring the data from another table into your current table, same concept we apply in the joins also. So in the join, we have two type of join: left join, inner join, that we primarily use. There are other type of joins also that is available, which is full outer join, right join. But primarily you will be using left join and inner join. So what is the difference between both of them? So in left join, right, considering which table you are keeping as a left means the most priority this one table. So which table is your left join? It will keep all the data from there, and the matching columns from the right hand side, it will pick and show you. So here I have like used a left join, and this is my primary table. So it has picked up all the values from here, and from the right hand side designation, it has matched the employee ID, and it has brought the 3 designation. The last one is not available and it is showing up as null. If you do an inner join, right, what it does, it brings you the matching columns from both the data. It brings you the matching column from both the data that is there. So let's go back to the SQL and now perform the join that we have. So first of all, what I will do, I will write select star from orders, right? So I will give the name of the table. Now, when you are performing a join, like there are always 2 tables involved over there. So we'll say select star from orders. After that, we need to specify the join type. So I will say left join, right? Left join which table? So for an example, let me show you another table that I want to join this with. So we are having this orders table, and then there is a separate table called returns, right? So what this returns table does, it captures the order ID that has been returned. And in this orders table, we have all the order ID that has been, where is this order ID? Yeah, this is the order ID, all the order ID which has been issued to the customers, right? So I want to connect this orders table and returns table, and I want to bring the status, right? In the returns table, we have the status. So I want to bring the status inside this order table. That's what I want to perform the join. So I will say select star from orders. Select star from orders means bring everything from the orders, and left join which table? I will say returns. Left join returns, and then I will say on orders dot order ID is equal to returns dot order ID. Now, when I'm writing this query, right, the left hand side table will be the one which is your primary table, which you are writing at the top, right? So that becomes your primary table. And we have written what? So bring everything from the orders table, and then left join the returns table on top of that. And what is the like column that you have to match? So you have to match on orders.order ID is equal to returns.order ID. Now, in some of the scenarios, while you are performing the join, that join might be dependent on 2 columns, right? So how that join can be on dependent column, let me show you. So take an example, you don't have an employee ID, right? Maybe you are having a name, a name available over here, right? And then there is a year information. So year, I will mention 2022 out here. Now this A and 2022, if you combine it together, then it become a unique combination, right? So if you have join on multiple columns like this, so name with name and year with year, like that, if you want to match with other column, then you need to specify the same over here. So orders order ID is equal to order ID, and the next we can specify, and when here it will not be working, but orders dot year is equal to returns dot year. If this this particular thing would have been available, we could have set it like this. So when you have multiple columns of join available, you can use the AND function and do that. Let's execute this. So in the right hand side, you see we have got the order ID status, right? And all of them are showing up as null. So is all of them is equal to null? I don't think so. So how I can check? After that, we can say where, right? Status, we have brought in the status is not null. So this is not null is a keyword. Directly you can use it. You have you know about the not, you know about the null, right? You can just use the is keyword in front of that, and that becomes a complete keyword. So when I execute this, I will be getting this 15 rows, right? So there is some values within the status, so it's not completely blank. So this is the way we perform the join, but this is not the standard way how we write the join queries, right? So what we do, if you see in the right hand side, we are getting the order ID twice. Why we are getting the order ID twice? Because order ID is available in this till this is from the orders table, and from here it is from the returns table. So why I need two columns for the same information? So I only need the order ID from one table, which is the orders, and from the returns table I only need the status, right? So instead of just giving the star, we need to specify that. So how I will do that? So first of all, we need to specify a aliases for everything, right? Alias means like a different name. So instead of writing orders, what we can do, we can specify a name O for this table. So I will say O for this, and for the returns, we will have R, right? And all the places where I need to specify orders or returns, I will change the name. So here I will say O dot order ID, and then here I will say R dot order ID, right? It will just change the name. And then when we are writing the select statement over here, I will say O dot star. That means bring everything from the O table. And then after that, I will say R dot status, right? So we are saying bring everything from the O table and only the status. If you don't need everything from the like orders table, we can specify the name of the column that we want. So I will say O dot order ID and R dot status from order O, and let's execute this, right? So here we are getting the data. So we have like 1952 rows, and for all of them, we are getting the stata out here. So this is the left join that we are performing, right? If we have to perform the inner join, right, we can just perform the same thing. We will say select orders, or we can say, oh, we can copy this entire thing. And instead of left join, I will just change this to inner join. Select O dot order ID status over here. And what do you think we will get the result when we are using this inner join? So it will exactly give you the result like this, where the status is not null. So it will give you the result where the data is not null. So when I execute this, you see we are getting the 15 rows. So it is giving you the order ID and the status. And if I execute the inner join, we will get the same result. You see, so if I run both of them, you can compare both of the result are exactly the same that we are getting. So when we are performing the join, right, depending on what is the end result you are looking for, you can specify that particular join type and like get you the result over there. After the join type, right, let's say if you want to give some condition within this, right, let's say you have brought in the new status column, right, you have brought in the status. So we have joined, we have like we did the join, and after that we can specify the condition over that column that we have brought in. So we can specify those conditions also. So this is the join type. There is like nothing complicated with the join. Now when we are writing these things, right, like when you're writing join, when you're writing this alter, these are the things which you will be working on when you're like working for any organization or something, right? This append query, sorry, not append, what we did, this like operator, then where clause, these are the things which you will not be using too much. Join is something which you will be using a lot of times. Okay, now after join, let's look into something called subquery, right? Now what is this subqueries? Now basically till now, right, whatever we are writing, select star from orders, we are directly specifying the name of the table out here, right? We are saying select star from orders. Now this is directly your table. Now let's say you, I ask you to, can you show me the bottom 10 rows data from there, right? Bottom 10 data from the data, from the table. So if I start writing bottom 10, right? Bottom 10 star, will it work? No, because there is nothing called bottom 10 over here, right? Let's say if I write top 10, if I want to see the top 10 result from the data, I can get this, get the result, right? So there are certain things which you can perform, but there are certain things, right, which you cannot perform directly. So for that, what you need to do, you need to create a subquery. Now, what is this subquery? So generally, instead of writing this directly from orders, right, we will give a statement within this. We will write a select clause over there, and from whatever result we are getting, right, we will be executing on top of that another query. So let me give us question so that we can solve that. So let me look into the data that we have. Let me just run select star from orders. And within this, so we have the sales data out here. Okay, now I want to see the top 5 data, right? When your maybe customer name is something, not customer name. Let's say from the Eastern region, we have a field called region, right? So I want to see the top 10 data from the Eastern region. Now this top 10 data from the Eastern region can be done easily also, but let's make it a little more complicated. So instead of just writing this orders, what we can do, we can say over here, select star from orders where region is equal to East. Okay, now if you see here, top 5, I will write it like this, top 5 star from. So instead of like directly mentioning it over here, that select top 5 star from orders where region is equal to East, right? What I'm trying to do here, I am giving a subquery. Now this subquery here, it seems very simple, but I will get a scenario, couple of scenarios in tomorrow's session where I will be sharing, right, where this subquery is very, very useful. So you need to write the subquery like this. So you are writing one particular query, which is starting with the select statement. And within that query, there is another query, which is there from the after the from statement, right? So this is known as subquery, right? So what it will do, first, it will try to evaluate this result, right? So whenever you run any query, first it will check if that table is existing or not. So if that table does not exist, it will directly throw you up an error, right? So if that table is existing, first it will find the data, and post that data, it will find the top 5 results from there. So if I execute it over here now, it will show me the top 5 result where my region is equal to East. Region is equal to East. So this concept will be very, very useful when we are writing some advanced type of queries. Subquery is very, very important. Now, after that, we will be creating something called procedure. Now, most of the time, right, when you will be writing the queries, there are two things which is very important: procedure writing and views. Why these two are important? Procedure writing is important because I mean, you should know how to operate with that. And views are important because you won't be directly having access to the tables. So if you are using any BI tool or anything, right, and if you connect to the SQL Server, you would see you will not be directly connecting to any table. You will be having access to something called views, right? So views is basically just a mirror image of the data that you are trying to fetch. You can store that into a particular table using a view. So first start off with the procedure. So what is the procedure? What is a procedure actually? So we'll say create procedure. You can write like procedure or proc, anything. And I will say first underscore SP. So there is like a keyword that you can assign while you are doing any task, right? So when you're creating a store procedure, try to use the SP at the end. When you're trying to create a view, try to use VW at the end. So we are saying create procedure, and then we'll say as, and then we have a statement begin and end. And within this, we will be writing our entire query. Now, what is the benefit of using this stored procedure, right? Your code execution becomes much easier, right? You don't have to write so much long query each time if you have to execute. So for an example, let's say I want to execute this result, right? I have written this much big statement, and this is like a very small example. In actual, you may have a 30, 40 or 50 line of code, and you don't want to write those 50 line of code each time. So what I can do, I can just create that a store procedure. So I will say create procedure, then the name of the procedure, and then as, and here in the begin and end, right, will be your code. I will go ahead and execute this. So it has created a store procedure now. I will just go ahead. Now, if I have to run the same query, right, instead of running this entire query, what I can do, we can say execute procedure, right? Or you can say execute proc, and then you will say first underscore sp, and then just execute this. First underscore sp. So there is no procedure keyword when we are executing this. That's why. So instead of like execute, you can also write exec out here, exec, and just the name of the store procedure that you have written out here, right? So using this method, what you can do, you can directly run this query using this just small keyword. You don't have to write that entire query. Another benefit that you get, right? Like let's say when you are when you have created the store procedure, and maybe this store procedure has been created by someone else, and you want to understand what is the code that has been written behind this. So you can use a store procedure like this, sp underscore help text. Now, what is this sp underscore help text? I will let you know. So sp underscore help text. So if you see this sp keyword, right, this is a store procedure that we have created now, right? This sp underscore sp, wherever it is in the beginning, right, these are the store procedure which are in default, which has been created from the system. So Microsoft SQL Server provides certain keyword, right, which you can use to do certain information. So this help text is used to find the code that you have written. So let's say someone has created a store procedure and you want to find out what is the code behind that. So I can just say sp underscore help text and then first sp out here with the name. And when I execute this, you will see this is the code that is there, right? And then you can just like select and copy this code and then come here, and like if you want to make any changes to this, you can make changes. You want to execute anything or make some changes to this, you can do that. Similarly, like there is something called sp underscore rename. So sp underscore rename, and then you have to specify. So what do you rename? You rename a column header. So if you have a column name, okay, when we are having a different column name, so let's say, let me run something actually. So let's start from. Okay, so we have this table, right? Maybe let's say discount is there. I want to change this discount to disc. Now you cannot directly do it in the SQL Server. Like we were able to delete the column or add the column, we cannot do the same thing with the discount. So to rename the column, there is a sp underscore rename function which is already been provided. So there is some text or code running behind this sp underscore rename. So we'll say sp underscore rename, and then you can just say orders dot discount. So this is the column name that I want to change, and after that you can just say disc that you want to change it to, and when you execute this, it will help you in renaming those columns. So you see, sp underscore rename will help you to rename the columns that is there. So when you are creating the store procedure, it makes your life much more easier in the longer run. Okay, coming back to the procedure that we have written. So we have this procedure that we have that we created. Now let's look into a procedure which we can create with a parameter. So at this point of time, we have not created any parameter, right? Now parameter is something which gets executed as soon as your like a store procedure is running along with that. So let's do one thing. Let's first delete the procedure that we have written. So how do we delete the store procedure? Again, the same thing, drop procedure or drop proc, and then you have to give the name of this. So I'll just say drop procedure first SP and over here. Now, the same thing that we have created first SP, let me remove this thing. We'll create a simple store procedure now, which says select star from orders. Now, what I need to do, I need to apply a condition over the city column within the data. So for that, we need to create a parameter, right? So parameter is what? Parameter is something which will accept a filter from outside and it will do the filtering and show you the result, right? So I will say create procedure first SP. Now, I'm writing like first SP doesn't mean you have to mention first SP all the time. You can give any name that you have over there, right? Make sure you're ending that with an SP so that you can understand that, okay, SP is for store procedure. So create procedure SP, and then after that, we will create a parameter. So parameters can be created using the @ keyword, @ on this one, simple. So use this @ and maybe I will say city, and then we will say the data type for that, right? Whatever is there. And here, what I will say, select star from orders where city is equal to city, which is this parameter, right? So what is happening here? I am just defining a parameter and I'm giving the data type. So data type is required anywhere you have to bring some data from outside. Remember this, data type is required whenever you have to bring some data from outside. So here, when I'm creating this parameter, I will be making some input to the query. That's why I'm giving the data type. Let's execute this procedure. Okay, it says like varchar and text are not compatible. So let's change this to varchar. Just give 20 within this. Let's execute. So yeah, this has been completed. Now, if I just try to execute this first SP over there, execute the store procedure. If I, like last time, we were just executing it like this, right? You see, it will say that it expects a parameter. It will not allow you to run a function along with this. So we'll say execute first SP, and then here I will just write the name of the city. Execute first SP, Boston. If I click on that, you see all the data that I am getting is now filtered automatically to the city of Boston over here. Right? So all these things that we are doing, all these parameters needs to be configured within the store procedure itself. So whenever we are executing that, it will ask for that parameter and it will give you the result over there. Okay, I will keep it till here for sorry, I'm getting a little cold. So I'll just keep it till here. In the next session tomorrow, we'll start off with the views and we'll look into a little more advanced concepts for the store procedure that we have. So we are like understanding on the input parameter that we have. There is something called output parameter. And then also we'll understand on creating of the views, and then we will move on to something called indexes and tables. So again, I will be uploading the recording into the same drive, and I hope like all of you have got it over there. So if you have, go through that, and if you have any questions, please let me know and I will be happy to answer you in the next session. Thank you everyone for your time, and yeah, we'll catch up tomorrow again at the same time.